Oh my God, something unbelievable just happened in Ghana. Two R&B giants, Montell Jordan and Ronnie Devoe, joined forces on a powerful heritage journey. But what happened when they reached the last part of the enslaved Africans and later received a royal naming ceremony at a Ghanaian palace, the Akuapem Mahene's palace to be precise? This is not just a celebrity holiday or a fun sightseeing. In fact, this turned out to be a spiritual homecoming.
Very much for making it up here. This place is a beautiful place. The Kakum
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. If this is the first time you're coming across my channel, this is Inside Studios Network. Make it a point to hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video, and go to the comment section and let me know what you think about this very conversation. To new viewers, you're welcome. Like, share, subscribe. To returnees, do the same. Thank you so much. And then to my amazing subscribers, I salute you. Thank you so much. Inside Studios Network is where we explore the powerful stories connecting Africa to the global diaspora. And I've already told you we are going to unpack the backpack through the 10 days journey of these giants and their delegation. Let's get straight into the video. And in this video, we are going to look at the day 3 of the extraordinary journey when Montell Jordan and Ronnie Devoe's delegations united to explore some of Ghana's most sacred historical sites. This was not entertainment. This was not a celebrity holiday. This was history, memory, identity, and emotional healing. Because when members of African diaspora return to Ghana, they are not just visitors. They are returning to a place their ancestors were violently taken from centuries ago. Now, to start with this emotional day 3 journey, it started from the Asen Mansu, specifically the Asen Mansu Ancestral Slave River, often called the last part. Historically, enslaved Africans captured from inland regions were marched for days and weeks through brutal slave routes towards the coast. When they finally reached the Asen Mansu, something symbolic happened. They were forced to bathe in the river for the last time on African soil before being transported to slave castles along the coast. For millions of Africans, this river represents a final moment of freedom before the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade. According to Ghana's Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, this site became one of the most sacred locations for diaspora remembrance ceremony. For Montell Jordan, Ronnie Devoe, and their delegation, the experience was deeply emotional. Standing at the river means confronting a painful truth. Many African Americans today may have ancestors who passed through places exactly like this. Historians estimate that between the 16th and the 19th century, millions upon millions of Africans were forcibly taken across the Atlantic. Many of them passed through what is today Ghana's coast. And that is why Ghana has become one of the most important destinations for diaspora heritage tourism since the year of return in 2019. In that, descendants of the enslaved Africans can reconnect with their history. For visitors like Montell Jordan and Ronnie Devoe with their delegation, walking this historical path is not simply education. It is personal history unfolding in real time.
Asen Mansu was one of the slave markets that existed during the transatlantic slave trade. Now, this market was not the largest market, but Asen Mansu became the busiest of the markets. It was the busiest because this was the only slave market that was closer to the terror dungeons. So captives that were captured were from everywhere in West Africa. They walk in chains and shackles, barefoot and half naked with no food and no water, until they landed here at this market. When they landed here at this market, the market goes all the way to the community. But the reason why this area has been confounded is because this place was identified to have been the slave cemetery within the slave market. So from the edge of the grass all the way down the river, we are all going to walk on the remains of our ancestors. When they got in here, this was so they were properly fed, not out of compassion, but just for them to have a little energy to grow Africa. They walk in chains and shackles, barefoot and half naked with no food and no water, until they landed here at this market. When they landed there at this market, the market goes all the way to the community. But the reason why this area has been confined is because this space was identified to have been the slave cemetery within the slave market. So from the edge of the grass all the way down the river, we are all going to walk on the remains of our ancestors. When they got in here, this was so they were properly fed, not out of compassion, but just for them to have a little energy to grow.
Now, on their way to the major location, but before arriving at the major location, something simple but very human happened. The group became exhausted and hungry. After such a moment of visit at the Asen Mansu, they stopped at a lunch break before continuing their journey to the coast. Moments like this remind us even during powerful historical journeys, people are still human. They laugh, they rest, they reflect, and then they continue forward. Even though they are grieving, even though they are pained, even though they are feeling sad and angry over situations. Then after lunch, finally at the Elmina Castle, the delegation arrived at one of the most powerful historical sites in Africa, not in Ghana, the Elmina Castle. Built in 1482 by the Portuguese, Elmina is the oldest European building in sub-Saharan Africa. Over centuries, it became a central hub for the transatlantic slave trade. Inside the castle are the infamous slave dungeons, where hundreds of men and women were imprisoned in dark, suffocating rooms for weeks or months. From there, they were marched through the door of no return, the final exit point from Africa before being forced into the slave ships. Today, the castle is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and serves as a memorial to the millions who suffered during the slave trade. For visitors from the diaspora, walking through those dungeons often becomes one of the most emotional experiences of their lives. Experiencing the heavy emotional weight of Elmina Castle, the delegation continued their journey to another remarkable location, but this time the atmosphere completely changed. They traveled into the lush tropical rainforest of Kakum National Park, located in Ghana's central region.
You are welcome to Kakum National Park. Kakum is a rainforest and a biodiversity hotspot. Kakum National Park was established in the year 1994. It's a state-owned park which is managed by the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission. Kakum also houses Ghana's longest and highest canopy walkway that suspends at least 40 meters off the forest floor. The size of the park is 360 square kilometers. It's a tropical rainforest and a semi-deciduous forest and a home to many globally endangered species.
Kakum National Park is one of West Africa's most famous ecological attractions, covering nearly 375 square meters of protected rainforest. But the park is globally famous for something very unique: the Kakum Canopy Walkway. Suspended about 30 meters, almost 100 feet above the forest floor, this series of rope bridges stretches between giant rainforest trees. It is considered one of the only canopy walkways of its kind in Africa. For the superstars and their delegation, walking across these bridges is both thrilling and symbolic. After confronting centuries of painful history in the slave castles, Kakum offers something different: healing. The towering trees, the sounds of birds, and the vast green rainforest represents the Africa that existed long before colonialism and slavery. It reminds visitors that African history is not only about suffering, it is also about beauty, resilience, and life. Then after that, something extraordinary happened. The delegation was invited to the palace of the Ekuapem traditional area, Ekuapem Mahe. In Ghanaian culture, traditional leaders play a major role in preserving heritage, culture, and ancestral identity. And when members of the diaspora returned, chief often welcomed them as long-lost relatives returning home. At the palace, the delegation experienced something truly powerful: the traditional naming ceremony. In many Ghanaian traditions, names carry deep spiritual meaning. When members of the diaspora receive African names, it symbolizes restoration of identity that was erased during slavery. For Ronnie, Devoe, Montell, Jordan, and others present, the ceremony was filled with traditional drumming, cultural blessings, ancestral recognition, and emotional reflection. Many visitors describe these moments as feeling like history closing a painful circle. A journey that began with forced departure centuries ago is now becoming a voluntary return.
Principal towns, original principal towns, and about 200 villages, and they're organized under the paramountcy. Love the fact that you're here. We're happy that you're here to take time to enjoy Kakum in all this mighty.
We are almost here.
It means so much right now. I can't even really explain it in so many words. More than amazing, man.
And someone is asking, does this even matter? Events like this show why Ghana has become a global center for diaspora reconnection. Through cultural tourism, heritage programs, and royal welcomes, Ghana has positioned itself as a spiritual home for descendants of enslaved Africans worldwide. The visit by artists like Montell, Jordan, and Ronnie Devoe and their delegation also bring global attention to the historical experiences. These help younger generations understand that the slave trade was not just history in textbook, it was a story that still shapes identity today. So what I'm going to say at the end is that what happened on the day 3 journey was far bigger than a celebrity visit. It was a reminder that history still lives within people, from the waters of Asen Mansu to the painful dungeons of Elmina Castle to the Kakum National Park and to the royal blessing inside the Ekuapem Palace. This journey told a story of loss, survival, refreshment, and reconnection. And for many in the diaspora, Ghana is no longer a destination. It is becoming a home again. I'm very glad to have you here listening to me. Thank you so much for joining throughout the video. Make it a point to hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video, go to the comment section and let me know what you think about this very conversation. This was Inside Studios Network.